All right, we're gonna hope everything works and go with the flow here, friends. How's everyone doing? Hopefully, well. That's okay. I also wanted my other thing up. There we go. That's cool. Welcome on in, friends. Friends, if you don't know me, my name is Serfindio. You guys can call me T and or roll the misadventures and or misadventures and or bitch. I literally answered anything at the table. But how's it going, everyone? Hopefully you're doing well. Happy Saturday. Friends, we are starting yet another new segment on this channel. I'm very excited. It's like a week of the new segments. We started Tales Around the Table last night with my own players, and tonight we are starting From My Table to Yours, where I bring in players, GMs, game makers, whatever you want, and we chat. Tonight I have the grace and the honor and the privilege, or the misguided hope, I don't know, of having Crit Crafters, Sora DIT, and unauthorized dice roll and or unauthorized user on my channel as well. Don't you laugh at me. I see that face. Wait, why are you talking about me? Oh my god, what is happening with my players or my GMs right now? Why? Oh god, is Sora gonna get involved in this too? What's happening? Oh dear god. What have I started? I feel like Crit needs some glasses or something to join the team. I don't know. But yeah. I can put on look. We can make, guys, chat. We can make Crit totally feel like the odd man out here. Are you ready? Watch this. Check this out. You ready? Check it out. We're gonna make Crit feel like the total odd man out. Totally. Now everyone has glasses on except for Crit. Okay? Everyone has glasses on except for Crit. But I don't like these at all. So I mean, I do, but I didn't put them on before. I should probably wear them as they are my blue light glasses from no sponsorship from Gamer Advantage. They're really great. I love them a lot. No sponsorship, but if you want to, hey, I gladly accept Gamer Advantage. Let's go. So let's go ahead and unmute my players, shall we? They're not my players. Holy crap, I'm a GM. Let's me unmute my guests and say hello to them in 3, 2, 1.
I'm street sniping her.
Yeah, you are. Thanks,
hi. Hello. I forgot that there's a delay between what we see there and what happens here.
Aw. Hi, guys.
I'm a professional streamer, I swear.
Right. What was the faces that y'all were making?
I don't know. Yeah, he started doing the eyebrow thing. I felt challenged. I had to do the eyebrow thing, and then we were just trying to be like, just try to whisper sweet nothings into your ears, see if you would hear us. Clearly, you didn't.
Who could be the goofiest,
Did y'all not realize that I had you deafened and muted?
Yeah,
Oh,
we saw that.
Yeah, we didn't care.
Again, we're professional streamers. It's fine.
That was for us. That was all for us.
Why?
Fuck you.
Why did I invite all three of you on to the pilot episode of From My Table to Yours?
Because you're a
Such a
fucking
bad idea.
idiot.
Not only did I invite the three of you on for my pilot episode, I also asked Sora DIT to be my co-host, which is probably a bad idea. So, but we're gonna go around because I know all of you, but the viewers don't know all of you. So I don't know, guys. Do you want to, in true D&D fashion, do little rollies? Have you all roll a d20?
Ooh.
Sure.
Ooh.
I need my dice.
Which d20 do I use tonight?
That's always the question.
You know what? Let's use my big-ass Critical Role d20. I don't get to use this one often.
I got a 10.
I got an 11.
Shit.
I swear to God.
That's my terms.
I was like, I swear to God, if Sora gets a 12, I swear to God. Well, if it's age before beauty, though,
Nice.
Sora got a nat 20, so the baby
yes.
of the club here. All right,
Fair.
Sora DIT, the man, the myth, and the legend. You're going first tonight. Usually you go last, as I make you go last.
I know. It's weird. Hello, I am Sora DIT. I am Turf's wonderful, wonderful half-elven brother. I am her twin. She is my best friend. And I am here to cause all the chaos and make her regret her life choices.
You already do. All right. Next, let's
I wanted so much more, Sora.
Wow.
with the
You
11.
want
The
more? I can give you
11.
more. I can
Oh.
whisper sweet nothings till the cows come home.
Oh, he promises. Hi, I'm an authorized user. I am. I think the four of us are going to rule the gaming world someday. That's how I see it. Like, just all full steam ahead. Variety streamer. I play Dungeons and Dragons on my other channel. Nope, that's yours. Unauthorized dice roll.
Yeah,
that sounds
that's
right.
yours. Yep.
Mini maps. Yeah, it's listen. Terrible streamer. I'm the first to admit it.
Oh, listen, user, if you ever have any maps that you don't get to use, I will gladly take extra maps.
I'm gonna make them all available to you, Sora. All of them that I have done, you all can use. I will.
User makes amazing maps too. They're fantastic. I love them. I don't know if they're great. When
They'll
he's
only take me
actually
6
making
months.
them. Yeah, when depending on if he's making them on stream and distracted every 5 seconds. You know.
I got one done yesterday, and I exported it at 300 DPI, and it was 256 megs for a PNG.
Nice.
So last and certainly not
That's what I
least.
do.
Mr.
Hello. I'm Crit from Crit Crafters. I'm a dungeon master that does and recreates all the classic from Dungeons and Dragon in the superior system that is Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I'll die on that hill, absolutely.
Oh, shit.
The superior system is clearly Daggerheart.
Fair, okay. We'll fight about that later on.
We'll debate this in a second. Let him get through his intro.
Yes, absolutely. I got 2 campaigns currently running on my channel, Kingmaker and Curse of Strahd, again, Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And I'm basically also doing some variety shows as well, some gamings on Sundays, some Q&As and just general discussions on Thursdays. And yeah, that's about it for me.
Sounds good. And for friends that don't know me, my name is RolltheMisadventures. You can find me on RolltheMisadventures, where I am a D&D DBD streamer here on Twitch. I stream whenever I want, so suck it up and deal with it. All right. That's me. So, getting back to this Pathfinder 2nd Edition debate, because we're going to start with that, because I don't know if we can be friends anymore, Crit.
Oh, no.
Clearly. Look, you said Pathfinder, and then you said 2nd Edition.
Yes.
Unless I'm
You want
wrong.
unless you're wrong, I'm listening.
Pathfinder 3rd Edition was basically third edition, like there was like Pathfinder was mixed with 3rd edition of D&D. So it was like, wait,
Yes.
no, I lied to you. I was wrong. You're right. So let me go back and now revamp and remake what my statement here.
Okay.
Yeah. So talking to myself, I realized that I was wrong. No, the initial Pathfinder is superior, and I will die on that hill.
So, I mean, if we want to talk about systems and like the differences with everything like that, Pathfinder created Paizo was created in the wake of Dungeons and Dragon 3rd edition, where it was being revamped for 3.5. And a lot of people who started using Pathfinder, the first edition on that hand, clearly started enjoying Pathfinder more because it was Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition turned into a number crunching nightmare where you had to optimize a lot of things and stuff like that. Whereas Pathfinder 1st edition allowed you to just go right away just in one class, and you never wanted to multi-class because every level was giving you something good, something amazing. It was easy to feel heroic and everything like that. It was still very copied of Dungeons and Dragons itself. So, like for example, spells that were named the same, classes were named the same. So it was Paizo at that time was pretty much doing a D&D clone from the OGL when was not a problem, right? And second edition basically came out. So it's second edition revised, which is important here because second edition brought its own new mechanics, and I feel is a better tool for narrative play than Dungeons and Dragons. I'll get to that in a moment. But what it did with the revise, it completely went away from Dungeons and Dragons. So Magic Missile is not Magic Missile anymore. It's Force Barrage. Attack of Opportunity is not attack of opportunity. It's now reactive strikes, and etc. Right. So that's a lot of that. When I mean for narrative play is one of the, so they do not have the advantage disadvantage mechanics that you have in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, which I love, by the way. I think it's one of the greatest things that happened to TTRPGs. But what they do have is, so imagine that you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, but you add your level to everything. So for example, you add your level to your AC, you add your level to your 2-hit, you etc. 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 So what happens is that at the beginning, at first level, if you take Dungeons and Dragons, if you're a first level character and you're facing a dragon of a CR 25, there's still a statistical chance for you to hit that creature. It's not that omnipresent, omnipotent. You can still hit it and deal a minimum of, let's say, 5-ish of damage. It has like 150 damage, around 50 HP. So you dealt damage to a dragon, even though you're a first level. In Pathfinder, it's impossible to do that. It's just simply mathematically impossible because the highest you can hit is probably like 22, 24. That's if you roll a 20, a critical hit. Sorry, a 20 is not a critical hit in Pathfinder, but that's another story. And what happens is like you can never reach an AC of, let's say, 45 of the dragon. So you have the gradual growth of a character, also for the fact that, for example, an orc that's like first level, when you're level 5, you surf through these encounters. You're literally Aragorn facing off against the Urukais, just as Frodo just left, and you see him surfing through that because your AC is high enough that they can hit it, and you always crit if you have more than 10 of their AC. So if they have 10 of, if they have 19 of AC, anytime you hit a 29, that's a critical hit. So that's what happens. So I feel that it is more narratively interesting than Dungeons and Dragons, where it's, you're stuck in your block and like you don't. Let's be honest, you don't really have that much of an outstanding growth in like it's +1 and +6 proficiency at max.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like the difference there is not that much. And what makes the difference is in Dungeons and Dragons also you gain a number of attacks as you level up. From level 1 in Pathfinder, attacking once is an action, so you can be a cleric standing still in combat and hitting a person 3 times. So everybody can do that. Wow. So that's it's they got rid of bonus actions. Like mechanically speaking, it's really different. And another thing that it opens up is that rather than having a kit and being stuck with it, you get to choose among a myriad of feats. The problem there is that it's much less newcomer friendly. So I feel that you need to have played Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition at least to understand, like, okay, the feats mechanics, how it works, to eventually move on, graduate to Pathfinder 2nd edition, the superior system.
That's interesting. So that's interesting that you say that, because I started, I want to say back in the day, because I don't know how long it's been. I feel like I've been playing this game forever. But I started on Pathfinder.
Gotcha.
Myself, and Pandora's husband at the time. that fucking crazy bastard. That's a story that we could get into, but I won't dox him online. Love you, buddy. He must have homebrewed a lot of shit then, because he still had I remember playing as Nat 20s being critical hits. So he must have just let that have at his table. I remember not playing with feats. That's true, because I didn't learn feats until actually I met Sora, who then introduced me to 5th edition. I hadn't played 5th edition until I met him 3 years ago. But yeah. So that was interesting that you were like, yeah, the natural 20s weren't actually a hit. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure we like celebrated natural 20s.
And I mean, they also bring the whole, like, you have critical hits, which are when you score above the let's say like the DC, like an armor class is a DC, a spell save is a DC, whatever, right? If you score 10 above, that's a crit hit. If you score 10 below, that's a crit fail. And spells normally have 3 description. What happens if you crit fail? What happens if you crit fail? What happens if you fail? What happens if you succeed? What happens if you crit succeed? And like your spell always does something, like, for example, if you're a wizard and you do a spell, let's say sleep on someone, even if he succeeds, he's going to have some effects. Like he's going to be like drowsy, he's going to like he's going to groggy for a turn or two. Rather than if you crit fail, if you crit succeed, then he doesn't have anything. So spells also have a bit more of effect. They got rid of counterspell, which is the bane of anybody playing spellcasters, like counterspell all the time. It's fun. It brings a dynamic, but then what happens that so I'm a spellcaster like all the way. I love playing wizards. And what I felt happened in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition was I'm either keeping my spell ready for a counter spell, like I want to be like, ready to counter whatever they're doing, or I'm seeing my precious spell slot being wasted by people just counterspelling everything.
Yeah. All right, so Sora, basically what Crit Crafter is saying is since he's playing a wizard and used counter spells, he's no longer allowed in any of our campaigns. Got it.
No, I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't use that.
Listen, I actually implemented a rule at my table because of how insane the counterspells got. Only 2 party members are allowed to counterspell before shit starts to happen.
It's because at his table in Roll the Bones, we have 4 or 5. We have a sorcerer, a wizard. I think we have another sorcerer. Like we have like 4 or 5 different freaking.
There's like 4 or 5.
Hey, at least I'm not a bard that casts silvery barbs.
Oh man, you hate silvery barbs.
I hate silvery barbs.
Actually, you might be wrong about that. I think Sora has it. Or Sora. I think Alistair has it now.
Oh no!
Fuck you.
When we revamped him. Because he transcended death. I think he does have silvery barbs now.
Fuck me. But yeah, basically, I initially started as I'm not allowing more than 2 party counter spells, and no one's tried to supersede that. But if they do now, I'm rolling on the wild magic table as just the amount of counterspells just rebounds.
Nice.
Oh, he doesn't. Oh, you lucked out. So, Sora said Daggerheart. And then users said, I don't remember. As far as favorite systems or most...
System?
Yeah.
So, my dirty secret that I'm in right now is that I've never played a minute of Pathfinder. I have always wanted.
We'll fix that.
Okay, good. I've always wanted to. I've never been in the position to do so. So I could not question it at all. I am 100% 5th edition. That being said, I don't want to be. I want to find a superior system. I got Daggerheart. I am going in on Daggerheart. I'm intrigued by the system. I think that it's got huge potential. And I am like really, really excited about the DC 20 system. Yeah. It looks like it could almost be everything that I want in a game. So as soon as that becomes more solid on how it's going to be played and everything like that, I think that is probably going to be what I eventually end up on. I'm so excited about the storytelling part of Daggerheart. Like, I'm just so excited about that. So I'm hoping that becomes like, I see potential there. Is it going to happen or not? So that's where I said, I want to bring me into the Pathfinder world. Those are the two games that I've never played on Pathfinder and Vampire the Masquerade. That are like, I have to play these games more sooner than later.
So you need to talk more with Cat's Meow that was talking with us last time, because he's a World of Darkness guy.
I watched him the other night, and it was great. It was great. Yeah.
Have you played any of the promo for Daggerheart? They had an open beta.
I did do the open beta. Most of it was spent reading.
Gotcha.
I haven't actually had a chance to play it yet. If you can see right there.
Oh, you have the box and everything.
Yes.
Nice.
I got in on the Kickstarter or the backer kit, whatever it was. Like I said, so looking forward to it. And I'm reading the rules now. And the idea of the hope dice and the fear dice, I'm really kind of chewing on that and loving it.
The only thing I'm worried about the fear dice and is the whole dungeon master versus player. I feel it's easy to fall into the trope of, it's me, the dungeon master, who uses my resources against the players. Ha ha ha! I got you. Versus, it's a narrative tool that we're able to. The system encourages that. I'm not saying that the people who will be picking it up will do that, but I feel that that's what.
Right.
That's why I'm not convinced yet. I will need to see it more.
I do have to tell you, I love that the dungeon master has limits, just like the player has limits. Like, the dungeon master is fed with the fear dice, and if you don't have the fear to do it as a dungeon master, you don't get to do that either.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun. I think that the collaborative part of it, like, you tell me what happens, I tell you what happens. Okay, we come to an agreement that this is what happens. Much more engaging to me, and that idea of storytelling, as opposed to the mechanics, almost fall into the background for me with the ability to kind of tell the story better.
Well, let's be honest. Like, Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition is a system made for combat.
Yes.
That's basically what it is. It's a conflict system. So, and they don't have a whole lot, like, except like a few exceptions, like, for example, Paladin Ode of Redemption, that has diplomacy bonuses and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You don't have anything, but then again, social interactions is still a conflict. But anyways, the Daggerheart does bring a whole lot of, if you role play this way, you gain this. If you're encouraged to role play, so basically it's kind of like if you've done any improv, it's your referee of improv basically telling you change the subject, go deeper, like exactly like that, which is amazing.
Yeah. And the other thing, I think that we kind of touched base on this the other day, is that the old school, like the OSR, the DCC, now the Shadow Dark. Shadow Dark is amazing. I love, if you're just interested in dungeon crawling, and there's a ton of people that are, and I am too. I fucking love dungeon crawling. Get in there and do it, because that it gives you the opportunity to do it in a great, fun way. I came on board with Dungeons and Dragons. I can remember shaking our fist when AD&D came out. So it was I'm from the old school, and that was dungeon crawling. It was DM versus the party, and they were trying to kill you every minute. So
that's where, like, Tomb of Horror comes from, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I have somewhere there my big red box too, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, you lost me on that game, like completely. The one you just mentioned.
Well, I mean, like for a
just
little bit of, if you want a little bit of history, Dungeons and Dragon before being Dungeons and Dragon was called Chainmail in the 1975 until 1983, and it was exclusively a war game. That was basically what it was. And then the two people that were in charge of it, basically one of them went and wrote D&D, Gary Gygax, and Jeff Springen, I think, went to write Pendragon, the first edition of Pendragon in 1985. So like these are kind of like at the beginning, if you check the two systems, they're very alike, and then eventually they branched off. But like it's really interesting to see, like, how these two things that could have been the same thing or one thing just graduated somewhere, because one of them basically wanted to be more of a war game, one of them wanted to be more of a role play and stuff like that. So that's how they segued into it. That's great, actually.
And see, Sora over here, my first game was a 3.5 for Dungeons and Dragons.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't remember much of it because I was like 10 at the time.
That's fine. I mean, I was probably 10 when I picked up Advanced Dungeons and Dragon. So.
And so, like, I only played one session, because my buddies like had the books, and they invited me one evening. I played one session. Unfortunately, I didn't get sucked in. And then after my mom passed, me and my brothers really got into 4th edition.
Oh, really?
And
Oh, wow.
what I loved about 4th edition was just the amount of options that you had when it came to customizing your character.
Yeah. It felt 4th edition felt too much of a departure from 3rd edition for me to enjoy it.
Oh yeah, 4th edition, like, mechanically sucked. Like, and this is even with the rose-tinted glasses of nostalgia. 4th edition was a hot mess.
Nice.
Mechanically speaking. But the amount of, like, customization that you had, that's what sucked me in. Like, nice. I could make 1,000,001 characters, and none of them would ever feel the same as the last one.
And he did.
So, would you mind a question then? How did you feel from going to that to going to 5th edition? So, like, we're talking bare bone, like, Xanatar wasn't out yet, Tasha wasn't out yet, just like standard, like, handbook.
My first 5th edition playthrough was back in high school. And my friend Matt introduced me to the system. We had an after school. No, unfortunately, no.
Hashtag not a critter.
I wish. But my buddy Matt introduced me to 5th edition. We had an after school club for it. And I think I played a dwarf cleric in that short-lived campaign.
Nice.
Didn't do very much. We didn't go very far. And then I dropped D&D again. Till I got to college.
Gotcha.
I picked it up again. Tried the DM role. I figured, you know what? I want to make my own stories. I want to create worlds and have people explore them. I have not put down... Well, no. That group turned into a dumpster fire. And so I set down D&D for another year. And then my girlfriend, I love her, but she pulled the roleplay and the need to create and the imagination out of me again.
That's cool.
And so, I suggested we try D&D. Get her into this. Show her something that I loved doing.
Nice.
and now she's calling me off the hook. I'm gonna
Speaking
have
of
to
which,
text her
I
in a
just
second.
shouted her out on her that's Mystic
So wait.
Val. If y'all
You,
don't follow her, go
you're
follow
you're
her.
not answering her phone while she's calling you live, and now she knows you're not answering the phone.
Yep. I will text her.
I
in a
feel like
second
I
once
feel like
finish
you
my
need
train of
you need
thought.
to no we need to throw her off a little. You need to answer the phone and have us all say hi. Don't tell her we're
You
live.
are a brave man.
Yeah. I've been with my wife for 30 years, and I still pick up her phone calls when she calls
Oh
me.
my God! Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Right now, dear.
Hey. Hello.
She says, "Why didn't you
What's
call?
up?
Why didn't you pick up the first time I
Why would
called?"
you pick up the phone? Right?
Huh? Uh. So don't hate me. I'm on with Turf and User. We're doing a podcast.
Hi. I'm the one he didn't name. It's fine. He doesn't know my name.
Oh, and Crit Crafters as well is here. They all say hi, by the way. Yeah, Crit Crafters is fun. Although they are, they did lose some brownie points because they think Pathfinder is the superior system. And they are inherently wrong about that.
This is where she goes, "Oh yeah, I love Pathfinder."
Oh my God! Secrets revealed. Oh my God!
Yes, I am on the phone while we're live. Because
this
literally, I told them that you were calling me and I hadn't answered, and everyone was like, "Answer your goddamn phone."
This is where Valkyria breaks up with him and is like, "Oh, you like D&D 5th edition? We're done."
So we were actually talking about how you got me back into D&D.
Thank you for that.
Crit Crafter says thank you for that. Because why is that?
I mean, you're a cool dude, and I mean, if you wouldn't play Dungeons and Dragon, I wouldn't have met you, right?
Yeah.
This is true. You probably
The
would
best
not
people.
have met me.
The best people.
I will say the same thing
Dragons.
as User said. We will rule the world one day.
We will rise together. Remember that.
Are we going
That's
after the
fine.
king? Are we going after the king here, guys? Like,
There's room for
So
things.
I'm not American, so I mean, I don't want to be deported. Apparently, it's a thing.
Say hi, Internet.
wait. Here's the real question, Crit. Are you Canadian?
Yes, I am.
Then we have a
Je suis
problem.
Québécois.
We have a problem.
Quebec on top of that.
Oh
I
yeah.
love it.
Yep, I'm a French Canadian.
Nice.
And I can tell you that everything here from Hasbro is way more expensive because of the tariff.
Oh God, is it really?
Everything. So I didn't know, but before, by import laws, and again, I'm interested in all facets of board game and TTRPGs, right? So normally, a lot of publishers, they're published in China. That means if they step in the United States and get to Canada, we don't pay the import tax from the United States. We only pay the one from China. So we do not pay the humongous tariffs and stuff like that. The problem with Hasbro is all of their stuff is published in the United States. So for example, a book that's normally let's say $50-ish Canadian now is about $110 Canadian.
Ooh.
Yeah. The new magic boosters, 2 boosters and another thing cost $600 to a person I know, for bare bone things, brand new things from Hasbro, because it's the shiny new beautiful thing. It's insane. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Save us from our economy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
God.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're in good company.
Is Sora talking with us, or is?
No, he's talking to.
I think he's talking to us.
Okay, cool.
So you're in good company though. My girlfriend's Canadian, so You're in
Oh,
good company.
cool.
Yeah.
Where's she from? So I know if I like her or don't.
So you may not know where it is because it's kind of a small town. So have you heard of Renfrew?
No.
Exactly. Kind of close to
cool.
Ontario.
Okay. Wait, kind of close to Ontario on the Quebec side or the?
Quebec. Quebec? Question mark. I think.
So she's French.
No. She was. She used to be on.
I thought
on
I was about. Okay, you have taste. You have taste. It's a French person. Of course you have taste,
Wow.
right?
Um.
No, there's this funny competition between French and English in Canada. So yeah, sorry, I'm just giving you a hard time for that.
Ottawa. Does Ottawa ring a bell? Did I say
Oh
Ottawa?
yeah, Ottawa, the capital of Canada. Yes.
Oh.
I'm familiar.
I totally know this. God, she's gonna kill me later. Well, it was nice knowing you guys. I am now being broken up with.
How many people will be in trouble because of me after this stream? I'm sorry. Dungeons and Dragon, we like it.
I'm now being broken up with. It's fine.
No.
What happened
so
to the
what are we
D&D
talking about?
podcast?
Yeah.
So
I mean-
Sora was actually talking about how he got back into D&D until his
Yeah.
girlfriend called.
And
So
then we got the full story.
yeah, and then we got the full story, and now we're just going off on the Canada tangent. But so while he continues to go ahead and chat, it's totally fine. He can take his time. I can ask the two of you or see what you guys think. What I like asking this is probably one of my favorite questions. What made you all want to GM?
So we were talking a bit before the podcast that I have severe ADHD and I have too many ideas and they need to be brought out. One of the easiest way I found to cope with that was to create. And this agency you do not have if you're just a player. I feel that being a dungeon master come more naturally for me than being a player, because when I'm a player, I'm set within this like very small boundary, and you know I need to have a very very defined idea of what I want to do and achieve. Whereas when I'm a dungeon master, it's pretty much of like, you know, I just saw that amazing movie. It gave me like thousands of ideas. Let's write them all down and use them at one point, everything like that. At one point, like last year, I was running about like 5 games a week. Because and you know, some people might be like, oh, I'm losing creative stuff like that. Not at all. I was perfectly fine. I did some on start playing. Like more professional dungeon mastering and stuff like that. I just love to create, and that's pretty much like, you know, some people will be painting, some people will be writing. I GM. That's what I do. That's pretty much what got me into it.
Hey Turf.
Hey Sora.
I know you kind of have a guest list. Would you mind if Val joined us and chatted? If she wants to.
She wants, sure. She's actually a fairly new player and fairly new GM, so yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she's only been playing for like 2 or 3 years,
Jump in here, Val.
and she's been GMing. She jumped in the GM. She this like 4 months after she started playing. So,
Let's see in here, babe.
yeah.
Nice.
Love you.
What about you? What about you, user? I'm curious to know how it got you into it.
So back in the day, the way back
When rocks were soft.
when
Ooh.
rocks were soft.
Oh.
Yeah. We had a large group of people who played Dungeons and Dragons, and it was kind of one of those kind of things.
Yeah.
That back then I was the dungeon master by default because nobody else would do it. And I was the least drunk, least high person who was playing.
Wow.
So, I know, terrible. But I started playing.
Cool guy at the table.
Yeah, which is saying something at the Dragons players. But so I actually stepped away. Probably when AD&D D&D Second Edition came out. So it was probably the last time I played was right around 1990, 1991.
And you started with Taco, of all things.
Absolutely. Yep. I know.
Tough. Rough.
That's like you guys are like, oh, I don't know about that. But all of this is so soft. It's so
91.
soft. Like, all of the numbers mean what they mean. Awesome. Yeah.
Please explain to me what 18/22 means, please.
Holy shit. It makes my head hurt even still.
Right. You know exactly what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I am
Go ahead.
glad I was born after the Thaco days.
I have a question. I think specifically for user. I don't want to assume, but yeah, I love you. I do. You're one of my greatest of friends.
Look at her preparing. She's trying to smooth it over. The question's not asked yet. You're in danger.
You're wonderful. I love your beard. I told you that you need to play a dwarf. So how does the older systems of D&D? I'm sorry, because you were just the older person of our group. Like, how did it feel seeing the kind of, not really the fallout of D&D, but like D&D kind of becoming not super mainstream to now within these last 10 or so years, it becoming mainstream again? And it's like cool to be a nerd now. Like, you used to like hide the fact that you played D&D and were still living in your mother's basement with a bunch of code red kind of deal, and now it's like, oh, you do that, you know?
Yeah. So I will let you know, I've never been. I've always been like, I'm a nerd, fuck you. So,
that's because you're a Gen X, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
I'm on the last year of Gen X. That gives you an idea of how old I am.
Yeah.
I'm a baby millennial.
I love it. This game, and part of it, so I got back into streaming and back into playing Dungeons and Dragons. My brother, who's about 7 years younger than me, called me up and he said, "Man, I've played Dungeons and Dragons and I want to play." And I said, "Fuck that, bro. We are going to make that happen." So we got a game. I went out and bought the books. I went out just to kind of get back into it for him. And then that's been an on and off kind of thing. But I ended up hanging out in places. And I think I was in somebody's stream one time. And I was like, "Hey, man, I just started playing Dungeons and Dragons again. And it's great. Like, it's at least as good as I remember." And they were like, "We've never played Dungeons and Dragons. We'd like to play Dungeons and Dragons." And I was like, "Oh shit, yes, more."
Yes, give me players.
Role-playing games really, they really are. It's the best kind of game. I love it. It brings people together I really feel like it brings people together to tell a story. Anytime that we are getting, and this is going to sound all hippie-ish, but anytime we're getting human interaction, whether it's digitally, whether it's across the table, when we are coming together, I'm happy about that. I love that it's okay to be a nerd now. I love that you go around and there are people and you're like, "There's no fucking D&D," and he's like, "Me to tell you about my 15th level gnomish artificer." Yeah, fuck yeah, I do. Like, oh my god.
Like, for me, some weeks, D&D is more therapeutic than my actual therapist.
100%, 100%, and I love the I have brought, I don't know, recently 10 people into playing that have not played before, and the enthusiasm which with they have embraced it as it just makes my heart glad. I'm glad that people are out there being able to make a living on it, even tertiary living. I hate Wizards of the Coast. I hated them when they bought TSR, and I've hated them every day since. So
I think we're pretty open about that.
Yeah, that's the long answer to your short question.
If you going kind of like on the same question, and the whole, like, you know, Asbro, Wizard of the Coast and everything like that. Something though that scares me is right now it is so much of a at the forefront of communities. It's a cool thing and so forth, so on, because social media puts it there. There's content by well-known and well-loved people that use it. There's a company that endorses it and basically is there for all these people. The problem comes with what happens when that's not the case anymore. So what I mean by that is eventually, Critical Role will not be as big as it is right now. It'll eventually fade off. I'm not saying that I wish it to fade off or anything like that, but like eventually it'll start losing steam for what it is. And will there be something to take its place? If not, then
we'll be there. We'll be there.
No, but yeah, but what will happen is that it'll go back to, well, now it's not so much of a cool thing being a nerd. And I mean, like, I have thick skin. I'm part of the Jocks Machina crew of, like, you know, I've been a bouncer and everything like that, so it's fine, right? But I feel that a lot of people are using currently the D&D umbrella, or rather the TTRPG umbrella, as to being part of a community. It's been super open with the LGBTQ plus community that has been, and like eventually, that protection, I feel it's not going to be there forever. And there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be exposed. If that makes sense? And I'm scared of that for the future. I'm not saying like in the next 5 years, maybe in the next 20 years, but it's a rotation, right? It's a circle. So.
Sorry, I was just looking at side note for all of y'all. I was just looking at my radar because we have some rumbles in the area. And I live out in the middle of nowhere, so like if my power goes out, like it's out for the next 15 years. And it goes out my Kingsley barks the wrong way, and my power's like, oh, gotta go out. So
I understand. I live in the boonies too. It's fine. Like when power goes out, it goes out.
Yeah. So if it goes out, then we'll reschedule or something. We'll figure something out. But perfect. I didn't die, or I just live, like I said, Kingsley barks, and
Thank
it's
you
like
for
my
letting
power's
us
like
know.
My bad.
Yeah. It is going to cycle through, though. There will be a time when Dungeons & Dragons goes back down. There will be a time that the other games will still exist, but they will exist within a small, less open community. There will be a certain point. I think that... Here's the thing that I can tell you from going through the first round of that. There are people who will always be ready to play. There are people
absolutely.
Who,
I agree.
We will find our own, and if it's not 1 million people, if it's 1,000 people, we'll find those 1,000 people. Like we come together. It's crazy. Also, the thing that I think is really interesting, kind of going off of your, Jocks Machina, is that I have talked to so many people that have been like, Dungeons and Dragons just for nerds, or Dungeons, I don't like still like I don't want to play like it, and they play it, and like you see their eyes light up. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I want everybody to play this game because you don't understand what this game is until you're playing it. Theater kids, jocks, nerds, like you get in there and it scratches that itch of people who want to step outside.
I think we can agree though that, and I mean, like, I'm pretty sure we can agree on the fact that D&D is currently, like, D&D 5th edition at least, is a sinking ship.
Absolutely, 100%.
Something will need, because Hasbro will not Frankenstein and revive Dungeons and Dragons. It'll become something. I feel it'll become something entirely different.
Sure.
So that will need, if community needs, like, because Dungeons and Dragons right now, the state that it is still like the flag upon which a lot of people are gathering around. There's going to need to be a new flagship. Is Dagger Art it? I don't know. But there's going to need to be something that fills that void. Otherwise, like, when a void happens, it's going to be a power vacuum. It's going to cause a lot of problems, and we're going to see a lot of problems that what happened with the OGL coming back up again, and like being like people trying to.
Although I think that we can agree that literally every decision that has been made regarding Dungeons and Dragons in the past 5 years has been a misstep.
Yeah, from our perspective, yes, but we were talking about that Thursday, of the fact that a lot of people are Dungeons and Dragon Wizards is handled by Hasbro. Hasbro answers to a board, and what happens is that what they answer to is numbers. So they're more interested in milking the cow as dry as they can, as fast as they can, while they can, rather than try to maintain something that they know eventually will, dwindle and so forth, so on, right? So they'd rather go like, let's make $1 million now, rather than 200,000 for the next 7 years. Like, technically the 200 for 7 years better, but it's not now.
When they can't milk any more money out of it, they will divest it. That's essentially what TSR. I think Wizards has tried to divest from it. I think that especially with Magic the Gathering, like, I don't feel like D&D is Wizards' cash cow anymore. MTG is Wizards' cash cow.
Well, especially since they branched out in the whole, Universes Beyond with Transformers, My Little Pony, Marvel, and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So as soon as they can't milk it, as soon as they can't make money from it, they'll divest Wizards might sell it to some. There's been rumblings of people trying to wrench D&D away from Wizards for how long now? Quite a while, since I've been back playing, which was 18. Eventually somebody is going to take D&D away from Wizards.
It's sad because the origin story of Wizards of the Coast, right?
Wizards, I don't know if I know it.
I don't.
So basically, Wizards of the Coast was a Dungeons and Dragon adventuring party made of wizards that ventured on the Sword Coast. They were all Dungeons and Dragon players, and they were playing the Advanced Dungeons and Dragon version before, and they were super into Magic, so they created Magic the Gathering, and with that, when TSR sold Dungeons and Dragon, they bought it. But the name Wizards of the Coast was their party name.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So I mean, and it's funny because it's the whole do you live long enough to become a villain? that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
It's like no.
Yeah. Oh, I think that there is a certain reality, though. There is a certain reality that that Dungeons and Dragons is a business, and people make money. I'm talking DM's Guild, Roll20, Foundry, all of the places, all of the people who are making secondary, who are making. Yeah. You can go on to Drive-Through RPG, and there are people that I don't know how good of a living they're making, but there are people who are making a living. It's you're never going to be able to divest away from that. It just hurts so much to watch somebody you love be in such a dysfunctional relationship, and that is D&D and Wizards.
Yeah, and we're wondering why they didn't catch up some for example, the VTT wave. Why did they wait so long to get into it? Sigil, I think that's the flagship, the name that they had. Sigil was
already dead.
It was 5 years too late.
It's already dead.
That's insane.
The thing about that too is that if you looked at it, was really very interesting, kind of a 3D concept, and
you're speaking away from your microphone, so you're cutting out sometimes.
Sorry.
Oh, I was like, why are we pointing at our mic?
No.
It's because
you're
what I thought that was is that I thought that was. He's
no. Cut him out.
Stop.
Get him out.
No.
Get him out of here.
I'm going to stop now.
You're fine. No, sorry. All right, sorry. Sorry, Turf.
No, it was great. I'm like, all right.
We're going in spirals.
Let's do this.
Going back a little bit to what got me into D&D. So, my girlfriend, Mystic Valve, down here, she just hopped in.
Hello, guys.
Mystic Valve, this is Crit Crafters.
Hi. Hi, user. Nice to see you again.
Hi, Val. How are you, darling? Good to see you.
So she got me into role playing again, which of course brought up my GM juices, my need to create, my need to tell stories. I've been a storyteller ever since my mom died. Like, that was my way of coping, was telling these stories of, like, finding the light in the darkness. And that has always held a special place for me.
That's cool.
And it's impacted a lot of the characters that I've made. Is, you know, these dark characters that are so deeply rooted in their trauma, but who find a way to shine anyways.
I mean, a lot of people want to play heroes. I think that playing a flawed character is way more interesting.
Oh yeah, like
super more interesting.
The one
Mystic Val, I think.
The one character I identify with the most that I've made is Ezra, who is my half vampire. Like, he is old as fuck. He has lived through the rise and fall of so many kingdoms, and he keeps fighting despite knowing how flawed the world is and how, realistically speaking, his efforts are meaningless in the grand scheme of things. But he keeps fighting anyways.
Yeah. And then we have Mystic Val, who just got into D&D and just got into GMing.
Yeah, literally.
3 years ago when I started my latest campaign up. We're actually nearing the end game of that campaign.
So literally, I started playing Roll the Bones 3 years. Has it been 3 years or has it been 4 years of Roll the Bones at this point?
Let's see.
I've known you for 3 years.
I think it was a little after we started dating. So I think it's coming up on 4 years. Now that I
Okay, so 4 years ago we started playing Roll the Bones. As ridiculous as this sounds, yes, I know how ridiculous this sounds. Just keep an open mind when I say this. I based my first character off of Sam Winchester from Supernatural, but gender bended it to be Samantha.
Great.
So I wrote Samantha and I wrote this whole story. It was like 5 sessions in, and I'm like, hey, let's kill my character. And he's like, what? Like, it was like 5 or 6 sessions in, I'm like, kill her. Do something. And then we turned her into a vampire, and there was this whole thing of like, hey, do this, do that, and like, I was crazy in the beginning. And then not even a year into playing, that one manipulated me into starting to run Stranger Things. I was not even a year into playing D&D, and I started GMing.
Yeah,
that's how they get you.
She saw
That's how
the
they get you.
Stranger Things book, asked me what I thought about running it. I'm like, I've kind of got my hands full at the moment with Roll the Bones. Like, I don't think I can take on another campaign just yet.
Sora, are
like,
you
okay, I'll run.
people to be dungeon masters?
Oh my god!
Listen, I tricked both of these two into doing it.
Strong
Okay,
language.
Wait. Let me stop you before you get on your high horse, Mr. Sora DIT. Let me just put you in your place right now for about 5 seconds, okay? So, yes. You say
yes,
that
he's grooming someone?
no. Yeah, maybe. So you say that you got me into GMing. You just handed me a book and said go. There was no help. So I've been playing for 7-ish years. I have a half-elven rogue named Terfindiel. Shocking, I know. All of you are shocked by that statement, right?
Yes, absolutely.
100%.
Roll for surprise. For surprise.
Roll for insight.
And my first campaign that I brought her into, I had started talking with my GM about GMing. Of course, due to life and him being a complete and total douchebag, that group disbanded. So I stopped playing because, Dungeons and Dragons wasn't cool, right? And I couldn't find any groups, anyone else to play with. None of my other friends wanted to play because it wasn't cool. So I got online, started streaming, and met Sora. Actually, met Sage Hanada, who was like, "You have to come. You should talk to Sora DIT. He has a Dungeons and Dragons group. Yada yada yada." And I was like, "All right." So then I get hooked up with this fucker.
It never goes good when you say, "I got hooked up with this fucker."
Yeah,
Great
yeah.
intro.
Um,
Great intro.
100%. Like, we
Oh, no,
caused
it-
chaos immediately.
yeah.
Oh no, yeah.
He's like, well, "What do you want to play?" And I said, "Well, I want to play a half-elven rogue." But I had retired Terfindial at that point in time, and except I brought the half-elven rogue back named Nagisa. And from the great anime Assassination Classroom. She was an assassin rogue, shocking of shocks, right?
Sorry,
And
my anime flu is not that deep.
it's a great game. It's a great anime.
Nagisa.
So, it was
Nagisa.
basically like Nagisa was there to try and murder one of her hit was one of the party members named Totoro. So she had to infiltrate this
Wait, name
party.
what? Named Totoro?
Totoro.
Okay, just wanted to be, because I know Totoro.
I think that's copyrighted.
So she had to infiltrate this group and try and murder this wizard.
The party wizard, by the way.
Yeah, the party wizard. Sam, Mystic Val's character, was the only one that saw through her. And one thing led to another. I now have a sorcerer bard named Alistair who's been there for a couple of years now. And it's actually my first character that I've made after my half-elven rogue when I started delving into the other characters of D&D. Before that, I had it was a half-elf rogue, and that's where that was my 5-foot square, was a half-elven rogue.
I think my first character was an half-elf rogue as well.
My first character was a blood hunter.
Oh God, what was my first?
And I've never played a character above level 11.
So the first
My character
Same.
was back in 4th edition. I made a shard mind, which is basically like a living crystal person, and I made a monk.
Nice.
So
That was
that's
the
why
first
you
one
like
I ever
monks
made.
so much. Is that why
Yeah,
you like
my-
monks so much?
The first character I made for myself was a monk. That's why I love them.
All right, if you want to get technical, my first character was a paladin, and she died in like the 3rd session because you don't play a paladin when you're learning how to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Why?
Just
you do.
don't.
I do hate yourself.
Don't do that.
No.
I learned that the hard way.
I played a blood hunter to learn D&D out of all things. One of the
Jesus.
critical role classes was my
yes.
first D&D character.
Um,
My first character was a blood hunter, Order of the Ghost Slayer. Later on, she took wizard. But like, maybe it's why Claire is blood hunter wizard now, and it's just like, why am I doing this again? I've already done this. Old habits die hard.
So I made the mistake of telling Sora, I was going to say telling Turf, telling Sora that I wanted to GM, and he was like, "Great, book, go, bye,
Yep.
gotta go."
Yep. Yep.
And here
Famous
we
last
sit now.
words that everybody said.
Yeah.
I'm curious to ask. So there's a lot of content in 5th edition and everything like that. If we take just the classic books, right, and you could add one third-party thing, a book, a quest, an item, it could be Griffin's saddlebag for all the items they bring, just one thing, like a book to supplement your game. What is the thing that you feel like is amazing and adds so much to a world?
For me, already, with Stranger Things, I know this is going to sound very Stranger Things coded, but giving one of my players the Eye of Vecna.
Nice. Well, Eye of Vecna is from the standard book, so that's fine. You have it like vanilla style. You have it.
Honestly, for me, like the amount of flavor and like just like ridiculous, just balls to the wall, like ridiculous stuff you can pull off with it would be Tal'Dorei Reborn.
That's right. Oh wait, Tal'Dorei is Tal'Dorei still an official handbook, or it's now there? If it's an official book, you already have it. Something else, like for example,
it's like pseudo official because like technically it's third party, but it is also like it was.
I mean,
before.
They're advertising it on their site. That's not third party.
Yeah.
Like for example, like best example I could give you is for me, I think it's Skies of Sordanes, which brings the whole like sky ships, sky pirates, and everything like that. And I don't know if you see it, but right here, that's a 3D model of a ship, like 5 decks. They have like the amazing models for that and everything like that. And there's the whole like concept of having a crew, and if you're a captain, it counts like one of your attunements, but it gives you powers of a captain where you can control the ship, muster your crew. You have like the first officer who has other powers, the cook who has powers. So basically, it turns having a ship, a flying ship, being an amazing experience, like much more than it already is in D&D standard, I think.
So how do you feel about Spelljammer?
Spelljammer is good, but I feel that they could have done so much more. I liked that they tried to channel so much Guardian of the Galaxies, but in such a cheesy way that, like, I remember. So I don't know. Have you ever played any of the Spelljammers before that one? So
I had not.
There is somewhere out there on the internet. I found it like a few years ago, but there's literally like the full sky map of all worlds of Dungeons and Dragons. So if you're there and you want to go, let's say you're in Toril, but you want to go visit, I don't know, Krynn, the world of Dragonlance, it tells you all the major like pocket universes you need to go through in order to reach that area. And it's like, and that was basically the whole concept. Like, I feel that Beyond the Witchlight, grasped more the concept of what Spelljammer should have been.
That's funny that you bring up the Witch book, because one of my second characters, and it started my obsession with them. I bought that book just solely so I could make fairies. And I have not stopped making fairies since.
So,
I have not stopped making fairies since.
Are we talking like something that we would bring into the books for like some other item, like, or what? Like, what
so one source. What I mean by one source is, like, do you know the Griffin Saddlebag?
Yeah.
It's a huge book that has millions of items. That is one source. But for example, if you like a homebrew item, just one just comes on its own, that's one source as well. Does that make sense?
Because I would love to see. So for me specifically, I've really gotten into the Bard class. It's probably become one of my favorites. Thanks a lot, Sora. So I want to see. So
you
like,
decided to play a Bard.
By the way, if you want to check in the chat of the voice, I've posted the map I'm talking about.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways,
holy.
So like, I want to do. He's very like performance based. So I want to do something to figure out, like, throw him a loot that gives him adds extra proficiency, or that he can just get up on stage and like by himself, and he can have a drummer and a guitarist and a singer, and make it so that he can have an all-out stage performance or something, to where that just adds to his performance skills of being a bard. So I think that would be, because he does that a lot. He just kind of randomly runs off and is like, I'm gonna go distract this crowd while you guys sneak through it. And, his wife is like, the hell you are. And I'm like, just calm down over there, Luna. You just sit there.
Oh, God. Luna with you lately, Alistair. Ugh.
So I think that would be my focus. Would be more on the bard class specifically for things for them. Because
Okay.
I've gotten into it a lot more. So
I know I saw some content about bard, like Battle of the Bands and stuff like that. Some like quests that are about bards making music and being awesome. I have not read that material, but I feel that would that's somewhat what you're like referring to, like more content for the bard and make them like shine a bit more. Honestly, I think the bard, compared to previous edition, the bard is amazing in 5th edition. Like the only class that somehow was left behind and dragged was the ranger.
yeah, I mean,
the ranger's always been problematic though. The ranger was that they brought it out. It
felt
you're trying to be a druid, you're trying to be a fighter.
Yeah, I always saw it
in Baldur's Gate, but like
I always saw it as a wannabe, like so you know, when the paladin is the cleric fighter hybrid, I always thought that what they were trying to do with the ranger was the bastard child between a rogue, druid, and fighter.
Yeah.
So it's like.
But when like so many things, when you do that, you end up treat them terribly. It's and also rangers love them. I think that there's such a weird niche to play. And
5th edition forces you into the archery branch, right? For the spells and everything.
So.
Like for all your spells, most of them require like range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least most of the good ones.
Yeah.
So a question for you all, since we all have a bunch of GMs here. Where do I want to go? What do I want to do?
So many choices.
I know, right?
Choose your destiny.
I pick you.
Here's question: Hammond's Harvesting Handbook.
Oh, here's a good one.
I think that I would love to make Hammond's Harvesting Handbook part of I'd bring it in to do all of that shit, the minutia that you want to do on downtime.
Nice. So, talking about downtime, if you've ever played Pathfinder 2nd Edition, it has a very solid and stout downtime mechanic.
Listen, you've already sold me, baby.
Die on this Pathfinder hill.
It's not gonna happen.
You're gonna die on this Pathfinder hill.
Everybody that's played Pathfinder 2nd Edition with me loved it more than 5th Edition. So
there's some of us that were only started D&D in 5th Edition, and that's all we fucking know.
Never too late to learn.
best reason to pick up a different system book.
But sorry, you wanted to ask a question. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So how do you deal with imposter syndrome?
For a player, for a dungeon master, like what exactly do you mean for
GM?
Imposter syndrome?
Yeah. And what do we mean by imposter syndrome, if I may ask?
I normally don't have a whole lot of imposter syndrome. The reason why is I mean I've been doing it for so long. It does cause sometimes that, you know, when I'm in a I've quickly got out of my comfort zone by GMing to GMing in a language that's not my first language. So I like, you know, seek discomfort is a motto of mine, and I mean there's no how could I say this without sounding I don't think a person should have imposter syndrome because it's just for fun. The moment a lot of people are going to start feeling imposter syndrome is when they feel that people have expectations that they do not meet, and communication would always solve that. That's what I feel.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest, at least with me, and I just looked up what it meant. In Turf and Sora can attest to this. I struggle with D&D some weeks. Like, I hate to say this like this, and I know it's for fun, but I overthink it.
Have you ever read the first page of the player's handbook?
I've never actually read the player's handbook.
No, but no, and one of the reasons why I'm asking that is because the first page of the Player's Handbook, I believe, still has that, basically mentioning whatever rules are written, the dungeon master decides. So nothing stops you from making a decision that makes more sense for you right now, and we'll just check the rules later.
I love how
No,
both
I'm not.
User and Sora pulled out.
Yeah, they have their handbook. It's somewhere in the handbook. It's somewhere in the it's still there, right?
Yeah, somewhere in there. I remember reading, the rules.
I know
the framework.
it's in the DMG.
It might be in the
DMG too.
It might be in the DMG. But yeah, it's yeah. Go ahead.
But it's just one of those things where I already, and I'm just, a lot of people know this, and I think I've told user, but I probably, because we're just meeting and I'm dropping things. When I was little, I was diagnosed with the autism, and I'm on the autism spectrum, and I do a lot of overthinking. And I've always told myself that I'm not good enough. I can't do it. I can't tell you how many weeks or how many times I've not shown up because my head won't let me play. And I'm not trying to turn this into a heavy,
No, it's fine. It's fine. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you feel that, for example, like now that you've been doing that for a while, do you feel that you would have the same imposter syndrome if you take brand new players and you would dungeon master for them?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, it's a strong possibility that I might not, but it's also like would my brain still think, hey, you're overthinking this, like, don't do this, don't do that. And I'm trying to get myself back to where I have been or where I was, but it's also, I struggle with my mental health a lot.
That's an interesting.
I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
That's an interesting suggestion, Crit, because she does have, especially like, so her party consists of myself, Sora, Elfie the Little Fox, Sage Hanato when he can be in sessions, Anime Chef, and that's it, I think.
Captain Jackie.
What I found for newer dungeon masters is normally if you play with more experienced players, you see one of two things happening. One, they'll always doubt themselves and refer to you because, I don't know that. And what it does is, since you're giving them the answer right away, they're not looking for it. They're not assimilating the information as well. Does that make sense? So when you are the reference, like, you could be making up rules and the players wouldn't know. Is in a setting in which, like, normally, well, now you don't have any expectations. You don't, like, the rules are basically what you make of it, which is in essence what Dungeons and Dragons should be. It's so the stress and the imposter syndrome is much less there than when you feel as if, like, brand new dungeon masters, I'm dungeon mastering for a guy that's been playing for 20 years, a guy that's been playing for 10 years, and they all know the rules better than I do. My wife took forever to just, she had to find a good quest and everything like that in order to work up the, hey, I want a DM, but, like, I'm the one that has the least experience here. I will botch it. That's a real thing. And I mean, it's most Dungeon Master of experience I know will, of course, always be like, no, don't worry, everything's fine. We'll roll with it. But saying it and having the feeling of the person is two different things.
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of times, like, sorry to kind of put you here, Val will ask me for a ruling because she knows I'm more experienced and know more of these things. And I'm like, okay, this is what the rules say, but do it how you want to. Like, don't let this stop you from doing something weird and wacky. For example, in our Stranger Things, polymorph, by technicality, we're only supposed to be able to turn into beasts of a challenge rating lower than ours.
It's a great spell.
Are you bringing up what I think you are?
Yes.
Oh
so
my god.
I play a Aasimar. So, one night I'm like, hey, technically this spell only lets me turn into beasts. With my celestial heritage, would you allow me to turn into, say, an angel? Because it's thematically fitting. And then, it kind of spiraled from there. At one point, my fallen Aasimar turned into a dragon and fucked shit up.
It's so that's very cool. If you want my opinion on, if we're talking about best practice, by asking you what is the right rule, and you correcting and then offering something else is interesting, is good. The best practice, in my opinion, should have been, well, what do you think the rule should be?
Yeah.
So that way because the best practice in game, what I prefer to basically go with is, let's not break the moment we have and open our books and look for it. It's just a show, right? It's just a show. Let's move along. How do you feel the rule should be? And we'll check later. Like, you'll check, just write down what we, and check later. It's fine. No problem with that. So that way.
That's been a problem.
Times too.
Mm-hmm.
And here's another thing that's been a big problem, at least with me. And I've had to, I hate that I'm saying this, but I've had to say it. I've had to rely on other people for my notes and for my recaps.
I do that all the time.
Tara became note keeper for quite some time.
My players do the recaps.
Yeah.
And see, that's an interesting thing, because I saw a video recently where it's like, have your players do recap, because one, it'll increase engagement. Two, they might pick up on something that you thought was unimportant or that you missed from the last session, and they'll remind you of it. And
you'll also see what's important for your players. Yeah.
Exactly. You see what's important for your players, you see what they pick up on. And that's also part of my GM style. Like, my world has shifted so much from what I had in my head, based solely off of how my players interacted with the NPCs or with this particular plot hook.
Speaking of worlds and stuff like that, and so I can attest to this, Turf not so much, because Turf wasn't really there in the beginning of it. When I started running Stranger Things, I'm like, I'm gonna run from the book, straight on from the book. First session!
That lasted about 2 sessions.
No, just first session. No. First session. Completely went off the rails. I'm like, I texted him after session. I'm like, that did not pertain to the book at all. Like
in the army, no plan, survive, point of contact.
I'm stealing user's dog, by the way.
Nice. Oh, she's adorable. You can have her.
NPCs that I made was just supposed to be, like, all of y'all are Critical Role fans, right?
Yes.
First and second season.
You're familiar with. Okay, so I made what was basically a dark version of Gilmore, where it's like more
Dark Gilmore.
Imagine Gilmore by Edgar Allan Poe.
Nice.
What are you referring to?
Cthulhu version.
I'm interested in who you're referring to now, because I don't know if you ever told me this.
Oh, I know exactly who you're referring to.
But my party, upon their first interaction with this man, thought he was this, like, all-powerful, super evil, like, out to get you, out to steal your soul individual. When in my head, he was just this shopkeep that was, a little bit on the edgy side, a little bit darker. But they just assumed the worst, and that's what he became.
I swear to God,
this is so much better than anything I could have written for him.
I swear to God, if you say Crowley, Like,
I love this NPC.
And he has now become a staple of multiple campaigns.
I love this NPC.
Because he's universe hopping.
I have from day one, and Soren and Surf know what I'm about to get into. I have hated this man from day
And
one.
you were one of the ones who helped shape him into what he is today.
So what you're
this man.
saying, so what you're saying is that that NPC is making you live emotion.
Well, I even hate that NPC now more, because in Turf's campaign, my character was an idiot.
That's fair.
My character was an idiot.
I'm going to bring it back around for a second, only that I want to say, Turf, I have felt imposter syndrome every campaign that I've run, almost every session that I've run. It doesn't have anything to do with the people, or it's an expectation that I have of myself that I don't feel like I'm necessarily meeting all of the time. I wish that I could tell you that it was dungeon that I dealt with that, but it isn't. So it creeps into dungeon mastering. A lot of what I find myself doing, what I had felt to the point where I was nauseous before a session would start. I'd walk around for about 20 minutes and I'd go, I think I'm, and then I would sit down and we would play. I don't know. At a certain point, I think I looked at Lisa and I was just like, I think I know what I'm doing. And she was like, yeah, of course you know what you're doing. You're doing great. And it was that one person just being like, actually, if you know my friend Brudokin, he's also been very positive about talking to me through things. Kind of, I'll go to him and I go like, this is how I'm feeling about dreaming. This is how I'm feeling about dreaming games. Like, but yeah, so having him kind of talk to me about it, having Lisa kind of talk to me about it, and then me just being more aware of the good things that I'm doing, for lack of a better term,
kind of like, and
has helped a lot.
Kind of like, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, user. It's almost kind of like an anchor in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Like Lisa, and I don't know who Lisa is to you, but she's your. Wow.
This is a lot. Yeah. Lies, user lies.
But it's like she's. Oh, okay.
Old man.
It's like she's your anchor kind of thing. Like she keeps you grounded kind of thing.
I'm gonna tell you said that.
Time. Yeah,
I'm a DMer. I'm a DMer right now. Be like, yo.
Oh wait, is she the one that's gonna be the bar in our?
And then you see the shepherd's crook just like.
She's about to be in my campaign.
Oh no!
Is she the one that's playing the Goliath?
Is that Raven?
Yeah.
That's Raven. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay, so she's the one that's about to play the Goliath bard.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I thought that's what people.
Okay.
I just realized I never answered the question either. I'll let user finish first before I go, unless user was done.
Essentially done.
I'm having something that's coming up. I have to go. I'll maybe be back a bit later. I'm super sorry, Turf.
Okay.
No, absolutely.
All right. I'll see you around, guys. Sorry about that. I'll try to be quick and be back soon. All right. Thanks. Bye.
All right. So, back in the beginning of Roll the Bones, I dealt with imposter syndrome a lot, especially as more new players came in, and I'm like, okay, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I allowing this many people at my table? Like, I am not good enough to run for this many people.
It was also after Dickwad's table.
And like, yeah. And, my first run trying to GM went horribly to shit because the group
wasn't
accused me of
bad.
some really nasty things.
It wasn't
Because
bad. It was me, you, Sky, and someone else. Are you talking about your other campaign with Dickwad?
Oh no, I'm talking about Dickwad's campaign.
Oh, okay.
When I was running in that group.
Oh, okay.
They accused me of some really nasty things, all because there was this one individual that reminded me a lot of someone from my past. And I had trouble reconciling the difference between who they reminded me of versus who they were. And so one session, I would kind of ignore them, and then I'd try to make up for it the next. Because I was having trouble, and I even expressed this to them. I'm like, you remind me of someone from my past, and I'm having trouble reconciling who you are versus who they were to me. And they took that entirely the wrong way, and because I expressed to another individual that I thought they were cute offhandedly, they eventually accused me of sexual harassment.
Which was absolutely ridiculous.
Which was absolutely not what I was doing. Like, I made an offhanded remark that I thought was cute, and I was interested in someone else at the time. I was interested in someone from college.
Yes, you were in college at the time. That's right. I forgot about that.
Like, I was absolutely lost puppy for this girl. And not the one in my D&D group, but the one from college. Like, it was bad. But anywho, I digress. So that brought a lot of issues when I started GMing again. It's like, is this group going to implode like the last one did? Am I good enough to actually be running?
I feel like, and that was also not long after I said, like, I was interested in starting playing and stuff like that, and that's how you kind of got back to it.
And that's how I got back into Roll the Bone, and Roll the Bones got started. And then there was this moment that finally hit me, and I think it was shortly after Val decided she was going to take the reins and start running on her own, where it's like, no, you are doing good. You are good enough. This is a wonderful, amazing, beautiful story that you are telling with your players.
Like I said,
have to be perfect. It has to be you.
Like I said, it was like 5 or 6 sessions in, and I came to him and I'm like, hey, let's kill Sam. And he's like, wait, what?
So that leads me to the next kind of segment. How do you deal with players leaving, and do you take it as a reflection of yourself and your skills?
So, actively at the moment, our situation. We may be having an active person, and I've never really had an active person leave, per se. So it's going to be interesting how I deal with that, because I don't know how I deal with that. I do know when we, and I'm kind of butting into Sora, so Sora can butt into this. What was her character's name? Do you remember her character's name? She played a bard.
Oh, Sky.
Sky had to leave because they had real life stuff going on. They were in the middle of, like, moving and stuff like that, and, like, getting with their significant other, stuff like that. So we both looked at her. I think we had a final session with her to send her character off beforehand. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And it was one of like the most like I didn't because we barely had gotten to know Sky yet. We were just starting to learn about her
Yeah.
character, stuff like that. And then we already had to say goodbye. And it kind of made me a little bit sad because I was really looking forward to learning her character and stuff like that. I think it was one of the first sessions where Jackie came in.
Yeah.
Like Jackie, I think was
came in shortly after Sky had her final session. Or
because I think
maybe she came in before. I can't remember.
either
No,
way,
I think Jackie did interact with Sky a little.
a little bit. Because then I think not long after, who was it? Max. It was Max that he first started playing in our Roll the Bones.
Yeah.
So it was 5 of us, and then it became the 4 of us afterwards, and it was just one of those things where it was like I was really looking forward to getting to know her character and saying goodbye in a way where it doesn't like affect people and make people like hate them. I really enjoyed, but I've never like, at least in my campaigns, I haven't had an active player leave yet. But I would kind of want to handle it the same way we did Sky.
So, funny you bring Sky up. So, I've had a couple people leave my campaign. Sky left. I did not take that as a reflection on me because she left because, she had to move and she had personal shit that was getting in the way of her being able to play anything. So that one didn't really hit me as hard. Fast forward a few years.
Are we going into a campaign that I probably don't know about?
No. Fast forward a few years, and we have. There are not the words I have to describe. At least not nice on stream. But I'm not going to dox them on the internet.
Oh, I know where we're going.
They will remain nameless for now.
We could call him Bob. We could call
we're
him
gonna
Bob.
call them Bob for now. They created some personal drama among players. They created a lot of drama that kind of started to split the table up. And so I had to actually basically kick them out. And then I had to kick another player out. Well, I didn't really kick him out. It was like a messy breakup. And another player soon followed and left the table. And that one hit me hard. Oh no, we haven't gotten to you yet. You're next.
Oh!
Don't worry, we will deal with you and your bipolar ass. You just wait.
We also have to deal with my ass.
So
that's also my ass.
I will get to you two in a second. Okay. Let me fucking talk, cause y'all have fucked me up. Anyways, so those two left, and it hurt a little, especially because one of the ones that left at that time was my own brother.
Jake? No, not Jake. I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, my own brother left because of the interpersonal drama that happened.
I shouldn't have said his name like that on thing. That was impulse. I'm sorry.
So yeah, that happened. That hit me pretty hard because it's like, should I have done something different? Like, was there anything I could have done to prevent this? And only recently have I kind of worked myself into, no, you did everything you could, and you kept the players that you could at your table for as long as you possibly could. You did the right thing. You kept the main party together. And then we turn over to this one. Hi,
Which
raise
one?
your hand, T.
Ah!
This is you. And then, because of those interpersonal issues, this one left my table multiple times, came back, then sat in for a few sessions, left again.
Is that me?
No, like I said, I will get to you in a second. You're next on my shit list. So, and again, it made me think, is there something more I can be doing? Like, why does she keep leaving my table? And that hurt me a lot, because we have said we are the twins. Like, we are each other's best friend.
Have you met Vex?
And she is such a pain in my ass. And like, whenever she left, I did not run that night. I canceled session because she left. And I'm like, shit, I've got to rewrite everything I've written. I've got to figure out what I'm doing next. And then about a month later, I'd be like, hey, I really would like you to come back and try it again. And she would. And then she'd be there for a month. And then she'd be like, I can't. And leave again.
I was going through things, we talked.
You were going through things, we talked. It's fine. But at the time, you made me struggle. Like, am I good? Like, is this my fault? Am I the reason people keep leaving me?
I walked away from user.
You walked away from everyone. You blocked me even. Like,
I try blocking user on a daily basis. Doesn't fucking work.
Some people got blocked more than once.
but in the end, you came back. You sat with me. We worked through your shit together. We found a solution. We brought my brother back. Bob will never be welcomed back at my table for what they did.
No, Bob's not allowed back.
But that's because they almost broke the entire table. And I to this day do not know how I managed to keep it together.
How did any of us keep it together?
I have no idea how I managed to keep my core group so strong that even Bob couldn't break us up.
And then we get to the other fucker.
And then we get to this other fucker over here in the corner.
I love how you're pointing on my screen, you're pointing down, which right below you is user.
No, I'm pointing that way.
My screen too.
Not down. Diagonal.
saying, haven't fucked you over. I am saying not yet.
Not yet.
Listen, user, you are more than welcome to come join my table.
Any of our tables, actually. Any of our tables, actually.
Once I finish Roll the Bones, I plan on running a modified version of Curse of Strahd.
I was gonna say, I am getting ready to write another player into my campaign next week for Beloria. If you want in, let me know.
With one of my characters taking the place of Strahd.
Oh, Jesus. We need to talk about the other person's role in that still.
Anywho, getting off topic. Back to this fucker.
User, damn it!
Back to Val. So Val struggles.
Every day.
And
I want to punch her.
recently has only been like in a session or two at a time. And so once again, it brings up some issues for me. It's like, am I doing something wrong? And I know in my heart that it's not me, it's her mental health hitting her hard. But it's like, is there something I can do better? And it hurts a little. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm only one person, I can only do so much. I'm not a professional therapist. Yet.
Well, so we can also say this, Sora, and we can bring it into points. Sam especially.
Mm-hmm.
We finished Sam's thing way back long ago. We finished Sam's arc. Sam killed the demon she was looking for, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, okay, what now? So I stopped going. Because I was like, I'm done. Sam's done. I brought in another character, and then I'm like, Like, what, it was like 3 months I didn't play? A little bit longer than that? Something like that.
Yeah.
So then we brought them back. And then I think I played for like a month and a half, and then I'm like, okay, I'm done. So I left again. And getting to the end game now where we are, he started writing things for Sam just because I hadn't wrote anything for Sam. I'm like, well, Sam's done. Who cares? And he's like, Sam's not really done. You just haven't been there. And I'm like, well, yeah, but
You
I
never
haven't
really
wrote.
done.
She thinks that, you know, this end thing, I started writing things for Sam. No, I had an
You
art plan
start.
for Sam from
No,
the start.
no, you didn't. Don't bullshit.
Yes, he did.
Hey, Val. Do you remember towards the start of campaign, Sam had a vision
I remember
of the
that.
future because of Yellow Eyes?
I
Do you
kind
remember
of,
what that vision was?
but you realize I've been so in and out. No, not really.
Let me refresh your memory. So Sam, because we were following the supernatural storyline at the time, Sam had a vision of the future. And she saw her hometown being destroyed by 5 dragons. All attacking the place that she called home. And at the very end of her vision, she saw a giant topaz dragon standing atop her home. I have had plans for Sam since you asked me to write in a vision for her. I have had Sam's end planned since day 1.
Okay, but here's where I fight you then. On that. You did not have Raven Queen, Vax bullshit planned.
Okay,
all right.
that
We
part
can get
planned,
into intricacies
but-
off stream.
But
let's
anywho,
bring it back.
I digress. So, it's been a struggle for me with players coming and going. But at the end of the day, you have to remind yourself, people have lives outside of D&D, and that those lives sometimes take precedence over the game.
No, Storm. Absolutely not. I do not want thunderstorms. Hard pass. Hard pass. So, we're going to wrap it up because we're sitting almost at 2 hours. But, if you guys if you guys could go back to yourself as a brand new GM, what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself?
If I had to go back... Oh, sorry, user. Go ahead.
No, that's right. That would tell myself, don't take it so. Enjoy it more. Interact with your players more. Worry less about the details and more about the story. Is what I would tell myself.
That's a good point. One of the things I remember with my first session, and they weren't live because we couldn't figure out how to go live, so we pre-recorded our first couple campaigns. Our first couple sessions. I remember my first time, I was nervous, I was stumbling, but I've always had like a habit of repeating myself anyway. One thing I would think about, and it's kind of relates back to yours of like, don't take it so seriously. Maybe it's good to not think, well, you have this plan to follow the book. You plan to follow everything that was written to a T. Sometimes experimenting, even in the first session of your first, like, hey, I'm going to follow the book. That's why it was a pre-written campaign. It's okay to experiment in the first session, and not everything has to pertain to the book.
The advice I'd give myself, you will never outplan your party's chaos. So don't write Plan Z, just wing it.
And don't invite Terfindio into your party.
Yeah, but I wasn't a newbie GM
That's your tea.
So
If I could go back to myself as a new DM, I think so. I think kind of piggybacking off of Sora's kind of imposter syndrome story. I was in the middle. I was a newbie DM, and I started writing my very first homebrew world. I initially was called Misadventuring 101 because I was honoring my my prior D&D group that fell apart because of personal issues with our GM. It was myself, Pandora, who is still my best friend to this day. Her and I had been best friends since I was in second grade. So for about 32-ish years, we've been best friends. I grew up with her, knew her right around the corner. I love her to pieces. But it was me and her husband. And we tried the whole let's get on, let's make a podcast. And kind of everyone hated Terfindial. It was great. And so I honored that by having Misadventuring 101. And it was supposed to be play on words. You know, the whole, it was me and Pandora that were the two main characters. So that's where your whole Miss comes from. And then Misadventuring was MIS adventuring. And then the 101 was supposed to look like a laugh out loud. But I started that up. Everyone came in, and when everything went to shit in my life, I found that I had to completely start over. Like, I trashed the campaign. I told everyone to write new characters, except for Elfie Little Fox. She didn't get a choice, which we talked about yesterday on Tales Around the Table. And I actually reached out to Sora, and I was like, let's make this unified front kind of deal. So the name you see before you of Roll the Misadventures is a combination of Roll the Bones and Misadventuring 101. And that's where that came from. And then the logo is the two swords crossed with the banner is the old Misadventuring logo. That was black and white initially. We colored it in. It's purple and cyan, which are mine and Sora's two favorite colors. And then you got the red banner of Roll the Misadventures. And then below that, you have the dice from Roll the Bones. So I would tell myself, and I struggled with that because I not only struggled with trashing and feeling like a failure of my complete first campaign because of everything that happened, I also rebranded at that time, and I had been Turfindial since I started streaming for 4 years. So I was like, I don't know how to deal with I don't know how to deal with this. And everyone else was like, "Oh, it's Turfindial. That's great." I'm like, I'm still technically Turfindial. The person running behind Roll the Misadventures is Turfindial. Like, I don't care if you call me Turfindial. But looking back, it's what I needed to do, and I would tell myself that that's okay to do. If you need to trash a campaign, trash it. That doesn't mean you're a failure. And that's the beautiful thing that I have found in D&D, is that if you don't want to do something, don't do it. If you want to start over, start over. Like,
Yeah, that's healthy.
yeah. Yeah, it is, you know, Storm makes a good point. Everyone puts a lot of, you know, time, energy, and emotions into characters, and when it kind of reaches a stop point, it's a bit of a shock. But and Sora, you said it last night where you're like, I think everyone puts a little bit of their hidden self into their own characters. And then I joked and I was like, great, I'm a 6 foot tall, red tiefling name, you know, that loves to be a bard and chaotic and, you know, wants to rule hell one of these days, and whose name is Alistair. Fantastic.
Sounds like you put a lot of you into that character.
Oh, is that all of me? Gotcha.
I was talking to Sora actually about like last night, and I kind of like I had trouble tossing and turning last night. Speaking of like putting ourselves into characters and stuff, and I know I wasn't there last night, and I kind of was like not in a great mood, and I didn't have a good day. But you know, it's besides my point. Claire, and I can tell you this, I'm now realizing how much of myself from high school is in Claire. It's kind of ridiculous. And then I asked Sora, and he's like, "Yeah, I can see it." And that just kind of pertains to like thinking about putting ourselves into characters. And in a way, you're right. Somehow you put yourself into your character.
How would you guys instruct someone who wants to get into being a GM for the first time to do so? And don't say, hand them a book and go, just go.
Why? Because you don't want to repeat it, Sora?
Okay, fine. Hand them a book, read this, and then toss it out the window. Make your own world.
You know, and that's a good point, Sora. As much as I love Stranger Things, Turf came to me one time, and I think it was around the time I was thinking about starting to run Attack on Titan. I was starting to think about running a campaign on Attack on Titan, and I'm still thinking about doing that. But Turf came to me, she's like, while I love all these ideas, when are you gonna homebrew your own? And I'm kind of like, I didn't think of it. And then I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then instead of campaign 2, which was supposed to be Attack on Titan, campaign 2 became Mystery of Balloria. And it's this whole thing where I started connecting Balloria and Stranger Things into a world. And even now, we're trying to figure out how to connect Balloria to other campaigns. And I'm like, I'm just starting to dabble in the homebrew. I'm just starting to dabble into homebrew. Like, I started creating things for Sora's character in Balloria. I've started creating things for Turf. Like, I'm just dabbling into homebrew and seeing how much actual, like, creativity you can do with homebrew. And I'm kind of starting
with Turf, except her shit got jacked.
What do you mean her
was supposed to be
What do you mean her shit?
That crystal was supposed to be Alina's.
Okay, it's not a crystal or anything that I'm starting with at the moment. Right now, I'm making a weapon for Tara at the moment, and I've already made something for Volante, and there's chaos ensuing.
Anyway.
There's chaos ensuing, and I'm just now learning how much more creativity you can have with homebrew, and I'm really starting to like that.
What about you, user? Because Sora seems distracted.
Oh, I'm listening. I'm just ADHD. Gotta fidget.
I think that anybody who wants to be a dungeon master, I would probably talk to them first about figuring out what kind of DM, GM they want to be, and what kind of things they are looking. There's this amorphous idea of like, go out and be a GM and bring it. I have been doing better since I have decided. I sat down and I was like, well, what kind of GM do I want to be? I want to be the type of GM that brings people in and engages players. I don't want to be talking at players. I want to be talking with players. I want them to be involved in this story that we're telling. That's not what everybody wants to do. So find the people who want to do what you want to do, and then do it with them. I think finding your voice, finding the way that you do things is hard in this thing that we do, and I think that's why there are some DMs that struggle with it because they don't know, they haven't found their voice yet. They find your voice, and I do have to agree with Sora, just do it. Like, I mean, the giving them a being is it's a terrible thing to do to somebody, but also bringing them into thing to do to somebody. Like, why would you do that to somebody that you know and love? Like, I lose time, I lose days, I worry about whether I am doing the best that I can do, I worry about whether players are having. It's a miserable fucking place to be. I don't show up 10 minutes before the game and go like, hey, let's see what happens. No, I am working on this shit all the time. You just have to take the step though and just be like, well, I can do this, even if you don't think you can. Find your voice and then do it. And if it doesn't work, fucking change. We're all so worried about, if you're doing something like what you said, Turf, if you're doing something and you stop fucking doing that. Like stop doing that. If you are not liking the way you're DMing, figure out why, or figure out what your voice is before you go. That's the best advice I could give somebody.
A lot of it would be, and I'm surprised, maybe Sora's going to touch on it, and I'm overstepping Sora. Especially, user, I don't know if you, and even Valkyria, feel this way. Don't compare yourself, as much as I am not a critter. # not a critter.
Fuck.
Lies!
Do
Mercer
not
is the worst person on earth.
compare yourself to Matthew Mercer. Do not compare yourself to, player-wise, any of his players. Love them all.
No.
Don't do it. Do not compare yourself to
No.
Brennan Lee Mulligan. Do not compare yourself to Abria. That is the worst possible thing.
Yeah.
And if you're in it to do that, you are going to be disappointed. You cannot, that kind of yardstick, you can't start off with, I'm going to be the next Matt Mercer. You might get there, but you're not going to get there because you're being Matt. He is 1 in a million. Brennan is 1 in a million. Abria is 1 in a million. Brian Murphy is 1 in a million. These are great DMs. They have a background in all of the things you want to have a background in, like improv, like acting, timing, story writing, storytelling. I sorry to step all over your turf because I completely agree. Set something that you just can't reach and read a lot.
Don't be the next Matt Mercer. Be the next you.
Ooh, I feel like that's a t-shirt. That's
awesome. All right. We coined it. It's a Misadventuring merch.
There you go.
Misadventuring merch. Don't be the next Matt Mercer. Be the next you.
And I'm going to wear it to convention.
Find your voice.
Holy shit, that would be a great t-shirt to wear to a convention.
I'm wearing it to convention.
I can't tell you how many times I have done that. And I'm starting to realize that, you can't call yourself, you can't compare yourself to Matt Mercer. One, Matt Mercer is a voice actor that has been a voice actor for years, so of course things like this are going to come naturally to him.
Matt's been running Critical Role for 10 years, and he's been a DM much longer than that.
Right, and even, still, and one of my favorite clips, and it's kind of, even he still messes up. Sora and Turf, I think everyone knows what clip I'm going to bring up. The Spell Sniper.
Oh, yeah.
The Spell Sniper clip. Where I can't remember what exactly it was, but they were fighting, I think they were...
a counter spell, and his wife Marisha is like,
yes,
Spell Sniper doesn't work on counter spell.
Yeah, he brought out the phone. He brought out the player's handbook.
He brought out the phone.
He started texting,
and he's like, nope, you're right. He can't do this.
He probably went and called Brennan Lee. Let's be real here. Can I do this, bro? Yeah, and it's easier for us to sit here and say it, right? Because especially all of us being not critters, especially me, the rest of y'all are critters. But it's all of us to sit here and easy to say. But we all know that we've all sat here and compared ourselves to Matt Mercer. If you say that you haven't, you're lying. Because I think from a lot of GMs, we get in because we love the game, but there's part of us that we look at someone like Matt Mercer, and I mean, he's where we want to be. He's got a great table. He's got, he's doing this for a living. If you don't have that end goal, and even no matter how far out of reach that end goal is, yeah, you're playing for fun, but where is your motivation at the same time? But again, it's gotta be, you can't, if you compare yourself to Mercer, and again, it's easier said than done, you're gonna fail 150%, because you're never going to feel like you are good enough to be a GM.
I love the you can look and you can be like, that's my goal. My goal is to be a full-time dungeon master, or be a full-time content creator, or talk about, add another podcast to the D&D podcast list. There's the I love the be the next you. It's just, you've got something to say. You've got something to contribute. And even if you're doing maps or adventures or those kinds of things, you can look at it and go, I would like for this to be my job.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all I have to say about that.
And like, even if your voice never reaches the highs that Matt's does, that Abria's does, that Brennan's does, there are still going to be people that aren't looking for their voice. They're looking for yours, and eventually they will find it. The people who need to hear your voice will hear it when they need to hear it. So don't be afraid to put it out there. Do what you love and love what you do.
So at this time, I'm gonna kind of open it up to you guys. To, if you guys have a topic that's been eating on your mind, or a question for user Sora or Valkyria, or if you guys have a question for me, or chat, if you guys want to chime in, and if you guys have a topic that you want to get our input on, words are hard, feel free. Yeah. So yeah. Go, team, go. Oh.
I'm thinking.
Sorry, it's the heat, the sweat, it's making my head itchy.
Oh no, you're Storm. You're good. You're good.
I guess maybe one thing, at least, and I know you, user especially, I don't know what D&D style you run, if you run all of them or whatever, but how do you, and this is kind of pertaining to everyone, how does everyone manage their time before D&D? Like, how do you prep for a session knowing if you haven't prepped, you just bullshit it? Because I've bullshitted things multiple times.
Well, I'm going to throw it out there. I have maybe half a dozen points that in an adventure that I'm looking at, whether it's highlights that I want to hit, or interactions that I want to have, or things that to happen to specific players. So I've got my bullet points. I've got things that I have been thinking about, and this varies everything from like a description. Like if I know they're going to a place and I want that place to pop, I'm going to start thinking about adjectives. I'm going to thinking about describing it. I'm going to start thinking about these kinds of things. I very rarely plan. I have a place I want to get, and we might not get there today, and we might not get there tomorrow, but I fully embrace the chaotic energy that a player is like, I think I'm gonna fucking do this, and you're like, okay, let's yes and that. So what I find is that if I'm planning an entire session, I'm not going to use any of it, or I'm going to be routing my characters into that, and that's not what I want. So I have my bullet points. I have my things I want to hit. I always like to choose one thing for a player to engage with them per session. It might be an unexpected interaction. It might be a long conversation kind of thing. But I rarely plan out the session. Sometimes that shows.
Because I can tell you, and Turf and Sora know what GIF I'm about to bring up, because I've literally sent this at the end of session. Like, I have sent the GIF of Matt Mercer, who has his plans and goes and rips it, and I'm like, and then I message at the end, you fuckers, like, y'all changed my shit. It's just like, okay, goodbye plans. And I'm like, I grow frustrated with it sometimes, but at the end of the day, I know you can't control everything, and I'm starting to try and learn that, and it's just, like, I can't remember what it was, the first major thing. I think it was something with Sora. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was some Stranger Things thing you did, and I'm like, well.
Oh yeah, I think it was with Lucian, and I forget what it was, but like he got an ability where like he just knew something was off, and you're like, well, you weren't supposed to find out till like 5 sessions later.
Yeah.
Can we touch on, I don't know if you guys are done, but can we touch on what Storm wrote there in chat? Because I think that is a pretty, like, how do you feel as a GM about being involved in maybe multiple campaigns? Are you playing multiple games? Are you DMing multiple things? Do you feel spread thin? How do you know when it's time to pull back? Or are you just like, fuck it, go ahead? Or is somebody telling you to do things? I'm just gonna put it out there. I'd be playing games every fucking night if I wasn't married. But I've got somebody who I love and loves me, and she keeps me on the straight and narrow. And I have pulled her kicking and screaming into this world, and she is working with me now. So even the nights when I'm not doing games or talks or things like that, I'm working on stuff, but I'm working on stuff with her. So that's important to me.
I'm gonna make a comment about Raven, because I love Raven with Bobbles. Probably more than I love you, user. Sorry.
Wow.
As you should.
Wow.
I also, I don't think so. Her and I play in your campaign, and then I also love, and I don't know her screen name, so I'm just gonna call her character name, Winnie. Winnie and Lorenza, it's the best thing ever. I don't know if you like it, but I love them, and I love, again, I'm sorry I forget her name, but she's fantastic as a person and a human being. But Raven, I love Raven because you might have kicked and screaming, drug her into this world, but I feel like Raven's now like, why can't I play 7 days a week? Or why can't I DM 7 days a week?
No.
She was here long before me. She pulled me into.
She pulled you in. Oh.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Gotcha.
So I'm gonna be honest, and this pertains to me, Sora, and Turf. We all play 3 days a week, as of right now. Normally, with Turf's campaign, we alternate weeks on Fridays, but we're playing catch-up. At least between the 3 of us, we all play together 3 times a week. I run Mondays. Sora runs RTB Wednesdays, and then we alternate between that and Vecna. Both of them sharing the GM reins with that. And then Turf runs her campaign. And then Turf runs her campaign Fridays. Or every other Friday. Like I said, we're playing catch-up right now. But I can see how people get confused with characters. People forget things. I'm not gonna lie, because of my mental health and stuff like that, I have been playing catch-up with some campaigns, but that's a whole nother personal reason of my mental health has been not great. And I have been sitting out of sessions because I haven't wanted to play. So I can see people forgetting shit or forgetting things, having different characters. Sometimes it can be a lot. And sometimes, yes, you do need to hold back or maybe sit out a session or take a me night or whatever. But it also is what makes us human if we try to take on so many things. I think a lot of us, and that's just me, this is just me included, we don't want to be alone because if we be alone, our heads will wander and we don't want that. So I think a lot of us play these kinds of games, do these kinds of things to escape our heads.
I'm with user. If I could play a game or DM a game 7 days a week, I would. I too have a partner who would be like, "The fuck you are," especially because unfortunately we are long distance and she lives in Canada, so the only time that I can get to spend with her is online. So if I was online 7 days a week playing or DMing games, she would be like, absolutely not. But I would play and as far as like keeping characters and such. Plus, I have I unfortunately at work in a wonderful clinic that I absolutely love. But and I wouldn't give up that at all. Even if God, the universe decided to bless me and I could do this full time and I could be a full time GM and I could be a full time player and we traveled the world and we went to cons, I still would find a way to work at the clinic because anyone who's known me for 4 seconds knows that I am a veterinary technician and animals are a huge part of my life. They will always be a huge part of my life. If I could own a rescue, that's like my dream. I want to own a rescue and have it's going to be a D&D shop rescue. So that's
oh my god, Turf, do you not want to make money on that?
right. I know. Do you like money? I'm a vet tech. No, I don't like money. So that's where I'm gonna go, and I love giving a voice to the animals because we are their voice, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of us that feel that animals are beings and people and equal and all that good jazz. So if you don't like animals, we probably cannot be friends at all. But I would play. And as far as keeping characters, luckily they have characters that you can put in D&D Beyond now and say which campaign they're in, because if I didn't have that, I would absolutely forget what character is supposed to be where every single day of my life. Absolutely.
Well, and that's another thing of how, and I feel like all three of us are doing this in our Discords. Some of us not having to do it as others, but we put when we make the event links in Discord, what campaign it is, so that also helps keep track of what character you are that night, kind of thing.
See, I'm gonna go the other way. As much as I love this game and I would love to do it, I know I could not do this 7 days a week.
I don't think I could either.
I like the fact that it's staggered where, okay, I've got campaign 3 nights a week. That still gives me 4 nights to myself. Or to do other things. Where I can take a break from, because some of these characters, they have a really weird headspace that doesn't always align with my own.
Lucian.
And so if I were in some of these headspaces 7 days a week, I would probably go batshit crazy because it's not me, or at least not all of me. And I need that time to be me because I just finally found who I am, who I want to be. And it took me a very long time to find that. I can't give that up.
Fair enough.
So for me, I don't think I could play 7 days a week. I would love, having that feeling, but not for me.
Fair
I
enough.
Like
also
the happy medium I've found.
I also feel I can agree with Sora. I wouldn't want to play 7 days a week but that's my whole thing of like I work 40 hours a week in a hospital cafeteria. I run around dealing with people all day. Gotta love dealing with people. But it's one of those things where, yes, the 3 days a week, and I'm trying to get better about attendance, that I can escape into this character. I can do this. I can do that. And then the other days a week where I have time to myself, and Turf and Sora can kind of attest to this when I follow it, it kind of gets me to follow my schedule. Because a lot of times beforehand, I didn't have a schedule, and I streamed every night. And both of them were like, "You're gonna burn yourself out." I'm like, "No, I'm not."
And
And
what
then I
happened?
did. And then I
You
did.
burnt out.
So I
And
love this
who told
question.
you? We told you.
And it makes me chuckle because he's totally, Storm is totally calling you out right now, user. Absolutely, and I love it. Storm says, if you're using a program or hardware that can repeatedly cause issues, at what point do you say enough is enough and decide to go to something else that doesn't cause those problems? Again, it's all fun and games and all with love. User has the biggest fight every day with Foundry. Every
fucking day. Every fucking day. I know how to use that program. How can it get fucked up so bad every game?
I know the three of us use in like Owlbear for maps and such, and then we use D&D
Yes.
Beyond for role characters.
Like
I do
character roles.
Yeah.
And I occasionally use the D&D Beyond maps, especially if I'm using a pre-written campaign, because it's a lot easier to just load that map for the specific section we're doing, and then just import everyone's character icons straight from D&D Beyond.
I'm planning on doing that for Icewind because it seems like that's going to be so much easier than using our own map, like making our own maps. And
Yeah.
sometimes I don't have time to make my own maps, and then I have to ask one of you to do it, and it's just... I can understand when using a program can work and when it doesn't work.
But I don't know. Yeah. User kind of has a love-hate relationship with Foundry. If user if user ever strays from Foundry, I would be shocked actually. But I'll let him tell the tale if he wants.
I was gonna say, what is Foundry for those of us that don't know?
So let me tell you, Foundry is an amazing program. It's a virtual tabletop, so it lets you control your characters. It lets you control your maps, your campaigns. And it's a fantastic program. It does not always play nice with itself. And the other thing that I've got going on is I've got 20 modules going on in Foundry, which is probably about 16 more than I need. The questions I always have about Foundry go beyond how do I fuck it up every time I use it to is it taking away from my game? And I'm beginning to really wonder if it not only the errors, like sitting around for half an hour trying to make things work, kills a fucking session. It kills it. But it also, like when you do bells and whistles, people start going like, oh, these bells and whistles are... All right, well, you quit looking at the map and that doesn't work for me. So I'm probably going to be looking at a pared down Foundry very, very soon, going back in, seeing which modules I don't need, and just sticking with the ones that do what I want them to do so I don't run into the problems. I'm also really fucking looking at Demiplane too, because Demiplane is a D&D Beyond style that works with Roll20, and let me talk to you about this. Here's the thing that I like about Foundry, and that's only one person has to have a license. So if I have a license, I can bring everybody into play. Roll20, you all have to have a subscription of some sort. And that's bullshit. Right? And I'll look into Owlbear, but I like Foundry just because of that.
2D. I don't know if you like 3D or 2D.
No, I hate. I gotta be honest with you. I see all these 3D maps and stuff like that, and I don't like them. It's a me thing. I grew up with the blue and cream D&D grid. I'm a top-down guy. Always have been a top-down guy. That's how I came in. That's how they're going to carry me out, is top-down.
So the only thing with Owlbear, unless you pay for a subscription, you can only have like 2 rooms active. That's the only downside to it. But I mean, you can do a lot with 2 rooms, especially if you're, only running a couple campaigns. You can be like, okay, this room is for this night, that room's for the next night, and then just, swap around as you go.
I also want to look into. I really started on Roll20, and I kind of want to look more into Roll20 as well, because I really liked. They were one of the systems that I really liked. So.
I mean, I think it's definitely a more user-friendly system than Foundry. And I have a subscription to Roll20, so I go in there on different games that I'm playing and play in Roll20. Don't have a problem with it at all. It does stick in my craw of it.
I am wondering what this story Turf said that you have is, because there seems to be some backstory between this Foundry issue.
Which one? Which story? Because it has, the last time that we played the Arganton camp, it took me half an hour to get it to the point where I could make it work the way that I wanted it. And by that time I was so frustrated that I felt like the game was back in the whole idea of imposter syndrome. If I can't even, how can I handle anything else? So we got a late start. I felt that the session went fantastic going. Had a blast doing it, but my attitude was bad. Everybody was like, well, we've been half an hour. It's an inconvenience. It just is a terrible way to start a session. I want to hit the ground running. Energy there. I want to be able to be like, all right, here's what we're doing, and not come into it like, goddamn program. Like,
I think our session when you tried to go and stream it, because you were streaming our is it the same one as Argantuan? Maybe it is.
Yeah.
There was you couldn't find Lorenza. Lorenza didn't have a token, and every time you tried to pull up Lorenza's token, it was another token. It was Raymond's token.
Yeah, it was Raymond's token. Yeah, I finally got that fixed, by the way, and that was don't even get me started on how much time. It's a simple fix, but don't get me started on how much time I spent on that. And that's what I mean. It's a lot more behind the scenes kind of stuff, the things that you talk about, that the time that you spent as a DM not playing the game. Like, the time you spend not playing the game, and I'm going to tell you, so the way that, and this is just hey, how are you doing? Well, let me fucking tell you. And that is, I've got 2 sessions going. I would love to have probably 2 or 3 more sessions going. I'm working on maps. I'm trying to get some adventures going. I've got a website that I work on. I've got StreamerBot that I'm trying to get StreamerBot better so that there's more viewer interactions with my streams. It's all of the stuff that you don't see that gives me a the time that I am on is relative. It's a 3-hour session, 2 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
No, 2 weeks a month.
Oh.
And the rest of the time I spend my time doing other than that.
Mm-hmm.
Streaming a Dungeons and Dragons game is a whole different too. Especially if you're at the point, like if I had a that would be there working on the technical stuff while I was working on the game. And I've had people who have offered it, and I can't do it. I can't let go of it. It's mine. This is my stuff. I have to make it work. So it's a me thing, but fuck.
So I'm gonna call it here. So I'm gonna go around and let you guys say who you are and what you got coming up. Welcome back, Storm. User, we'll start with you.
Hey, it's me. I'm an unauthorized user. I'm also unauthorized dice roll. So those are 2 different things that we got going on. We talk about TRPGs, we play maps, we play games. It's a chaotic mess. I love it. It will be the blend that grows for me. I also play. I'm a variety streamer at unauthorized user. We play 2 or 3 nights a week, and that's just fucking chaos. So stop by. Feel free to stop by. We like to say that we're not everybody's cup of tea, but we might be yours. So, and thanks for having me, T. This has been a blast.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming. Mystic Val, go ahead. Go for it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mystic Val TTV. Welcome to the Destiny Islands with Drawn channel. Taking terms, but no, but seriously, guys. I'm Mystic Val. If you want to check me out, I have a few things going on during the week. I stream Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. All of those things being different days. The one day that's usually a set, like this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. Are Mondays with Dungeons and Dragons. So we alternate between Stranger Things and Mystery of Belloria, which are 2 different campaigns. But this Monday we have Stranger Things coming back up, and I'm really excited. And Turf gets to play Percy again. That we sicked Percy on her, and yeah, I'm really excited to get back to that. That will be Monday night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Sora DIT, go for it.
Hello, I am Sora DIT. Typically, or at least at the moment, I only stream every other Wednesday for our Vecna campaign. I do need to get back to streaming, so drop me a follow, and if there's any games you guys want to see me stream, I love RPGs, so if there's anything you think would be up my alley, I've played a little bit of Hogwarts Legacy, the Borderlands, I've played a little bit of Call of Duty, I've done Cyberpunk, Skyrim. So anything you think would be up my alley, feel free to shoot me a message. Be like, hey, I'd love to see you do this, and maybe we'll get into it. We'll see if something can suck me back into streaming.
And then I'll do Crit Crafters, because we had Crit Crafters on here earlier. Crit Crafters is fantastic. We love him. He has a D&D podcast on Thursdays, ? And then he plays periodically some different campaigns, one being The Curse of Strahd. On Wednesday nights, I do believe, if I can remember. He can totally correct me if I'm wrong. As well as a Kingpin campaign? King something campaign?
Slayer, I think.
Slayer, okay.
Yeah, King Slayer.
I don't know when that is, but to give them all a follow. They've been absolutely great friends. I'm going to say goodbye and good night. If you guys need to hop out of here and get out of here, I'm going to do closing remarks. This has been a lot of fun, guys. Thanks for hanging out. If you guys
Sorry
have
for
any
cashing in.
Thanks again.
suggestions on who you guys want to see, please, shoot me a DM and let me know, and we'll see if we can get a hold of them, because I need to get better at my fear of rejection. So I don't like being told no.
No.
So
Fair.
yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
It's very hard for you to
No, but
Yeah. I don't like being told no. Anyway, thanks for coming on, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and mute if y'all need to jump out of here. I love you all. Thank you for hanging out. And I will talk to all of you later.
Alrighty, G.
bye.
So friends, yeah, of course, Storm. And Storm, if you have any kind of people you would love to see on, then please let me know. Shoot me a DM and let me know. I want to hear what you guys want to see as we continue to do this. This was kind of the pilot episode, and I was kind of unsure on how it would go, and I think it went fantastic. But stick around. We're actually gonna raid out. Where are we raiding out to? What do we think? Let's go back here to my main page and let's go see who's playing some Dungeons and Dragons tonight. What's this? This seems interesting. Oh, ads. Ads, chat, ads. As far as me, I will not be on tomorrow night. I will not be on tomorrow night. Monday night, I will be on Mystic Val's channel, playing not my character, but Percival DeRollo, that I love playing, that got thrown on me. Gotta love the fighter gunslinger. But come say hello as we go through some Stranger Things based campaign. And say hello. If you don't know her, drop her a follow. Give her a follow. And Tuesday, I will probably not be on. Wednesday is Roll the Bones, so we will not be on. And then Thursday, I'll probably be on for a little bit. Friday, I might do a day stream as it is 4th of July here for the States. And I am off. And then we'll go from there. Friday, I will be on, but it will be Roll the Misadventures, and we will be introducing a new character into Roll the Misadventures, and I'm very excited for you to see this character. I can't wait to introduce her to you all, and see how she fits in with the party. I actually have to write that. So stream this week is going to be probably Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And yeah, we'll see about the next time. Hopefully, I think I've got to talk to Mystic Val, but we need to do chapters 4 through 6 from Cover to Coven for Sunrise on the Reaping. And I'm very excited to get into that. But let's go see Here There Be Monsters. It's episode 39, Avalanche Aftermath. And yeah. let's go see. Do I want to? I don't know. I might change my mind, y'all. I don't know. I might change my mind.
Should splash on the person who threw the rock.
Oh, yeah, let's do this. I changed my mind. I always change my mind. I'm sorry. They're doing a 52-hour stream for charity. They're Pantsless Tables. So let's go see Pantsless Tables. I love their name. So let's go see Pantsless Tables. That's not correct. I can't spell. Hey, there's my raid. All right, y'all. I will see you guys over there. Thank you for everything. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are wonderful. I love you. Have a good one. Amazing night. Mwah.
So probably they're thinking about their friends, like they're all out shopping and hanging out in that way, I guess, like a mall or something.